Sean Thurmond and Payroll Manager. I process payroll for about 5,000 employees on a semi-monthly basis, which means twice a month. I also manage the payroll department, so I have other people under me who I assist when they have questions or need assistance, and sometimes they do the same for me. So the beauty of working in payroll is that things are never the same. Things change on a day-to-day basis based upon who you're dealing with, because what some person sees as an issue is not to another, because they have a better understanding of how everything is made up. So you never really know what you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, which is a plus, because you don't get worn out by the monotony of doing the same thing all day, every day. But there are days where that is what you do. So you have to be ready and willing to accept that and deal with that. But when I'm not processing payroll, really I'm just helping out other people in my department with things that they're working on, or doing general system upkeep, because with that many employees, a payroll system needs a lot of upkeep in order to keep everything correct. In my particular team, we have what are called payroll analyst and payroll specialist as well. Now this, for the field itself, it can vary because every company is different in regards to the jobs within the department. But a payroll analyst does real deep dives into payroll scenarios and payroll questions, while a payroll specialist is there to assist employees when they have payroll questions. You kind of, we're not working in customer service, but a lot of times as a payroll specialist, you are customer service. The only difference is the customers are your fellow employees. So everyone works mostly for one reason, and that's a paycheck. So it's very important that that paycheck is correct. So for me, it's very rewarding when someone has a question about that, and I can go ahead and put them in ease in regards to what they're looking at and what they're concerned about. That's very rewarding to me, because I know at the end of the day, I've made them feel a whole lot better, because money that you bring home is important, and it's important that what you're bringing home is correct. FICA taxes are taxes that are collected for two specific reasons. One is Social Security. Social Security provides benefits for mostly retirees. And then you have Medicare, in which Medicare provides medical benefits for usually the same people. There are outliers, but typically it is mostly going towards people once they've reached retirement age. You contribute to this in hopes that you are able to use it once you retire. FICA taxes can be represented as a piecewise function because the tax rates apply differently based upon income levels, particularly due to the Social Security cap and the fact that Medicare raises based upon higher income earners. The piecewise function accounts for the fact that portions of income are taxed at a different rate, and the rate is what makes up the slope. So the Social Security rate is 6.2%, and that is universal. That is for everyone. Everyone's income is taxed at 6.2%. But Social Security has a limit, and once you reach that limit, which in 2025 is going to be a little over $176,000, you no longer have to pay Social Security taxes for that year. Once the year resets, you'll pick up paying those again. Medicare's rate is a little bit lower. It's 1.45%. But you never stop paying into Medicare. And actually, once you hit $200,000 in income for the year, your Medicare actually goes up an additional 0.9%. So with Medicare, the more you make, the more you pay into it. So once you've reached that limit, then that 9% kicks in, but it only kicks in on the money earned after $200,000. They don't go back and retroactively add it to what you've previously earned. You're only paying it over the $200,000. So there was a time when all paychecks had to be manually calculated. Thankfully, we no longer live in that time. We use a payroll system called SAP that goes in and takes care of the general calculations of the checks for us, and especially the taxes, which is great because from the taxes would be the most difficult thing to calculate because every earner is different. However, there are still times where I do have to manually calculate some things. So for example, say a salaried employee leaves during the middle of a pay period. Well, he's not going to get paid for that whole pay period. So therefore, we have to go in and calculate how much he should make during that time. which that means taking, his salary divided by the number of days that he actually worked to calculate how much he should get paid on his very last check. For now, what you can do is start with building strong foundations. Focus on courses in math and finance and accounting. So if this is something that you have available, I definitely recommend taking statistics because it's going to help you analyze numbers and break down trends, which is definitely useful when it comes to payroll reporting. Also, personal finance is a great one as well because it introduces ideas like taxes and budgets and things of that nature, which are things that you're going to have to rely on moving forward as well. Also, something that you can do right now and something you probably already have is start getting a very firm understanding of how things like Microsoft Office and Google Sheets work, because you're going to find yourselves using those all the time, mostly for reports, but a lot of times you're going to need to take that information and break it out further, and having a good solid understanding of Excel and Sheets will help you do that. That was something that I had to learn as I got into this particular field, and if you can already know how to do that, you're going to be one step ahead of the competition. Pursue relevant education and certifications. A degree in accounting or HR or statistics, all of these things can be good and useful in a payroll field. Pay attention to detail. Attention to detail in payroll is by far the most important thing because one wrong number can empirically mess up an entire person's paycheck. Also, this is something that you can start right now in your everyday, and that's just develop soft skills. Learn communication. You're going to have to explain things to employees about why their check is made up this way and how these numbers, we got to that. So make sure you're able to communicate with people and explain to them how these things work. Also, problem solving. You're going to find yourself multiple times having to go in and verify that the amount that was calculated is correct, because you're going to have to be able to explain it to somebody in a way that they can understand. So my job is interesting because unless you're the payroll director, which is my direct supervisor, you don't actually have to have a college degree. This is something that can be taught. We can teach people how to do a lot of these things, especially if you have the ability to communicate with others. We can teach you the rest. But for me, I have a degree in HR. If you would have asked me 30 years ago what I was going to be doing, this wasn't it. As I got into payroll and started to get a better understanding of how it works and how important it is, I got an idea that as the world changes, payroll and human resources are things that we're always going to rely on people to do them. Now, obviously, there might be certain situations where computers can take care of it for you, but at the end of the day, you're going to need a personal touch on these things because you need a second oversight. And so that was really what interested me in this field, is because as I've gotten older, jobs have gone away. This is one of those, everyone's always going to need to be paid. So there's always going to be a job in payroll.